This is often the point where the conversation shifts. If AI can generate a competent response to many traditional prompts, what should happen to writing assignments, projects, homework, and independent practice? One answer is not to eliminate those assignments, but to look more closely at what they're actually meant to assess. If the goal is simple recall, summary, or generic explanation, AI may now do that quickly and convincingly. That does not mean the assignment has no value. It means the teacher may want to make the learning target more visible and the task more aligned with it. Here are 5 practical design principles that can help. Principle 1, process over product. If the final answer is the only thing collected, AI can often step into that gap. But if students also show how they got there, what changed in their thinking, what feedback they used, or what choices they made, the assignment becomes much harder to outsource and much more useful for learning. That does not have to mean a complicated system. It might simply mean requiring a draft, a short reflection, annotated notes, or a brief explanation of revisions. Principle 2, voice and specificity. AI is often strongest when prompts are broad and generic. It is weaker when assignments require precise personal observation, local context, or specific class-based discussion. For example, write about a challenge you faced is broad. Write about a specific moment in this course when your thinking changed, what caused the shift, and how it connects to our class discussion from last Tuesday is much harder to fake well. The more grounded the prompt is in the student's experience in the class context, the more authentic the response tends to be. Principle 3, real audience. When student work has an audience beyond the teacher, the assignment changes. A letter to a local official, a guide for younger students, a presentation for families, a peer teaching resource, or a product meant for public display often creates stronger ownership and clearer stakes. AI can help draft, but students usually need to think more carefully when they know real people will use or hear the work. Principle 4, synthesis and analysis over summary. AI is good at producing summaries. It is less reliable when asked to make meaningful, defensible connections across ideas in a way that reflects actual understanding. Assignments become stronger when students must compare, interpret, prioritize, defend, connect, or apply ideas rather than simply restate them. Principle 5, application to new situations. One of the most practical shifts is asking students to use knowledge in a context that is less predictable. That might mean applying a concept to a local issue, a recent class experiment, a unique scenario, or a problem the class just encountered. The point is not to trick students or outsmart AI. The point is to center thinking that matters. And it's worth saying clearly, not every assignment needs to be redesigned immediately. Some tasks still work. Some only need light revision. What matters is identifying the assignments where the learning goal and the task are no longer aligned as well as they used to be. That is where redesign has the highest payoff. One assignment structure that works especially well in an AI-rich environment is the process portfolio. Instead of grading only the polished final product, the teacher asks students to show the development of the work over time. That might include an initial draft, a short reflection on what was difficult, AI-generated feedback or peer feedback, a revised draft, a second reflection on what changed, the final submitted version. This format has several strengths. First, it makes learning visible. Second, it shifts attention toward revision and judgment. Third, it creates space for AI to be used transparently rather than secretly. For example, students might be asked to indicate where they used AI, what prompt they used, what suggestions they accepted or rejected, what they changed themselves afterward. That does not turn the assignment into a technology exercise. It simply helps students practice using tools responsibly while still showing their own thinking. The process portfolio also gives the teacher more evidence of understanding. You are no longer looking only at a polished end result. You are seeing movement, decision-making, confusion, revision, and growth. And in many classrooms, that is a more accurate picture of learning anyway. This approach can be adjusted based on age and subject area. In elementary settings, it may be as simple as draft plus reflection. In secondary or higher ed settings, it can become a fuller record of revision and tool use. The larger idea is that when process matters, learning becomes harder to outsource and easier to support. One of the most promising student-facing uses of AI is formative feedback. Students often need feedback while they are still working, not days later after the assignment is over. But teachers have limited time, and students do not always ask for help when they need it. AI can help fill some of that gap by giving students immediate responses during the drafting and practice process. For example, review this thesis statement. Tell me whether it is specific, arguable, and supported by the evidence I plan to use. Then ask me 2 questions that would help me improve it. That kind of prompt can push students to think more clearly before they submit. The benefit here is not that AI feedback is perfect. It is not. The benefit is that it is immediate, available, and iterative. Students can try again, revise again, and get another round of feedback without waiting. This can be especially useful for thesis statements, paragraph clarity, math, reasoning explanations, short constructed responses, study guides, vocabulary practice, self-quizzing, practice explanations before discussion or presentation. Your role as a teacher remains essential. Students still need guidance on what good feedback looks like, what to trust, what to question, and when to ask a human instead. That is why it helps to model this in class. Show students a prompt, run it together, evaluate the output together. Ask, what was useful here? What was vague? What would you ignore? What would you revise before using? Those conversations may be just as important as the tool itself, because they build discernment. So the goal is not, let AI give all the feedback. The goal is, teach students how to use AI as one source of feedback within a larger learning process. That is a very different model, and a much healthier one.